So I was getting ready to record my I love the My Little Pony franchise video thing. Pretty much the same thing that I've done for all the other franchises that I love, where I talk about why I love them and how I got into them, blah, 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 blah. And I was planning on having a segment dedicated to really just defending the Brony fandom, because I feel like that's something that needs to be stated beforehand, before I really got into, like, the show itself and why I like it so much. And I realized that I had just way too much to talk about to really just kind of shove it into that video. There's just too many things to talk about. It would have taken up way too much of that video, so I'm just going to make it its own separate topic. And then I'll just drop the Why I Love MLP video tomorrow, and then you'll have the context from this one about the fandom. Now, as a lot of people know, like, I've shit on fandoms a lot. Specifically the Dragon Ball fandom, I always say it's the most toxic fandom that I've ever been a part of. And a lot of people usually, whenever this happens, people will retort with, well, what about, and then they'll list off the usual suspects, the Sonic fandom, the Steven Universe fandom, the Undertale fandom, and then the My Little Pony fandom, Bronies, and to that I go, really? Bronies? Their entire ethos is love and tolerate. That is the core of what these people live by. And I don't understand why people feel the need to just shit on this group, this one particular fandom. In fact, recently I made a tweet about Bronies or whatever, and then someone talked about how toxic that fandom is, and I go, really? How is that toxic? Like, what is toxic about them? Like I said, I brought up the love and tolerance thing, and then they go, well, how is this not toxic? And it's picture of two ponies making out, a really sultry picture, and or it was like, I think it was like a guy making out with a pony or something. I don't fucking remember. It was some smutty pony picture thing that the guy had sent me, and I go, well, yeah, that's, weird. That's not toxic. People want to jerk off to cartoon horses. Who gives a shit? And first off, let me just say that does not encapsulate the entirety of the Brony fandom. That is pretty much like, because the Brony fandom has a lot of furries in it, so, a lot of that carries over. And people, furries and ponies, it's not a big difference there. So, it is a subsection. Kind of like how there are a subsection of Pokemon fans who draw themselves fucking a Gardevoir. There are a subsection of My Little Pony fans that draw themselves having sex with ponies. That is a thing. And just because it is a subsection does not mean that it represents the entirety. Kind of like how those guys who want to fuck a Gardevoir, or a Typhlosion, or a fucking Pikachu, you fucking monsters, doesn't mean that is the entirety of fandom. That doesn't mean like everyone who likes Pokemon wants to have sex with a Pikachu. And on the other end of that spectrum, not everyone who's a Brony wants to fuck a cartoon horse. And honestly, even if they wanted to fuck a cartoon horse, who gives a shit? It's a drawing. It's their weird, kinky fetish shit. Like, everybody jerks off to weird shit. Let's be fucking real here. Let he who is without jerking off to some weird shit cast at the first stone. No one's gonna do it because you're all fucking guilty of it. We've all jerked off to weird shit. But to cast scorn and hatred against a subsection of fandom, or the entirety of fandom, because of a subsection that likes to jerk off to something weird, because it isn't the same type of weird that you like to jerk off to, go fuck yourself. Another thing I see that's brought up from time to time is, Bronies are all pedophiles. No. Like, if all Bronies were pedophiles, there'd be no Brony fandom, because we'd be in prison for being pedophiles. In fact, I don't know anyone, because it's this weird thing. It's like, even the media has projected this. Like, when Bronies became a thing, it wasn't just the internet turned against Bronies. Mainstream media turned against. News stations were doing exposés on the Brony fandom. These degenerate perverts who like a Corsi cartoon. And it's just, really? And talk about how, people speculating, oh, why would they be into it? Could it be so they could lure children into their free candy van and molest them? Or maybe it's because they really like this goddamn cartoon that's really cute and wholesome and has great characters and cool world building and, fun and adventure. Maybe people just like cute, innocent, fun, nice things, and they don't want to fucking rape children on the side. Now, I'm not gonna say that there are zero pedophiles in the Brony fandom. I'm sure there's a few. But, there's no correlation between pedophile in Brony. I'm sure there are pedophiles in every goddamn community. Regardless, sports fans, like, oh man, like if a sports fan gets arrested for being a pedophile, does that mean that all sports fans are pedophiles? Well, I mean, there's correlation now. No, there isn't. It's stupid fucking bullshit. People are just trying to make fun and cast stones and just be shitheads to a bunch of people who did nothing to fucking deserve it in the first goddamn place. And the last thing I see brought up is Bronies are really annoying and obnoxious about their fandom. And yeah, no, that is totally, like, justifiable. I'm not gonna say they aren't, to the point to where I don't even want to talk to Bronies. But to be fair, I also don't want to talk to Dragon Ball fans either, so, I don't really like to talk to anyone in the fandoms that I'm a part of, because they probably aren't going to like the shit the way I like it anyhow, so I don't even like dealing with fans of things that I'm a fan of. But yeah, no. Bronies are, by and large, more forceful about, like, pushing their fandom onto people, especially during the height of, the Brony fandom, where people are just like, dude, you need to watch show, you need to watch show, it's so fucking good, blah, 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 and they're just like, you need to be a fucking Brony, because being a Brony is so fucking cool, and it's a cool show, and fucking be a Brony. Yeah, no, that gets fucking annoying, and I totally understand why people would get so fucking frustrated with that. In fact, I would get frustrated just hearing other Bronies do that shit to people, but I do understand part of where that comes from, because keep in mind that this is a fandom that the moment it became a fandom, it was instantly hated. It was hated across the board by mainstream media, by other internet fandoms, even by motherfucking 4chan, a place where people actually do post actual pedophilia and are into bizarre, degenerate, mean-spirited, horrible things. Bronies were too much for them. So yeah, like this is a fandom that has been immediately ostracized from its inception, treated like garbage, people making assertions about them and speculating about why they are the way they are. So yeah, no, I completely understand why they would be that defensive. Imagine if you were a fan of anything that you were just really passionate about, and everybody talked shit about it. Imagine Game of Thrones. Imagine if Game of Thrones wasn't the most popular fucking live-action TV series in goddamn history. Imagine it wasn't. It was some sort of thing that had a niche fandom, and that niche fandom was really passionate about it, just like actual Game of Thrones fans are really passionate about the Game of Thrones series. And everybody shit on them. They were ostracized from different fandom groups, and they were mocked constantly. They were called a bunch of dragon fuckers and a bunch of fucking sexual deviants, and they watched a show with incest, so they probably fucked their cousins too. And fucking, like, the media was talking about, oh, these weird fucking degenerates who like this Game of Thrones series. Ugh. Yeah, no, you'd get fucking defensive. You'd feel the need to defend yourself if everybody, because no fandom, like I said, has ever been treated the way the Brony fandom has been. It is just not okay to be a Brony. And that's kind of a shame, because the whole thing really just comes from the fact that it's a girl show. If this were any other fucking cartoon, this wouldn't be the problem. Like, the Steven Universe fandom is legitimately toxic. Well, specifically, the Tumblr aspect, the Tumblr portion of the Steven Universe fandom is legitimately fucking toxic and vile, and they try to get them to fucking kill each other over making fan art of, like, a fat character who's too goddamn skinny. That's toxic. That's fucking terrible. Bronies, they're annoying at absolute worst, and at best, they make cool shit. They do a lot of cool arts and crafts shit, they do a lot of cool fan art, not all of which, in fact, most of which are not goddamn pornographic. They make cool fan animations, they do, fucking music, and, like, fan films, the YouTube community for MLP is some of the best shit, or it was, then, like, Digibrony became Digibro, and, like, Drowning in Horseshoes became Endless Jess. All the best people from the fandom, just kind of jumped ship, but, anyhow, at its best, the Brony fandom produced so much stuff of wealth, and just good material, good creative things came out of it. And they were a really creative fandom, and probably still are. I mean, I honestly don't keep up with the Brony fandom. I don't really keep up with really any fandom these days other than Dragon Ball because I'm so fucking ingrained in it, I can't dig my way back out. But when I was actively involved in the MLP fandom, being a Brony, going to Equestria Daily on a daily basis, looking at all the news and all the new shit that was happening and all the cool things that were being made within the fandom, like, it was cool. It was a cool community. And it was one that, like I said, their ethos is love and tolerate. And how can you say a fandom who is all about love and tolerance is fucking toxic and hateful and evil and terrible and just the worst fucking thing ever? So yeah, Bronies, they're, like I said, they can be annoying, but I mean, sometimes it's justifiably so. Like I said, you feel pushed to a corner enough, you're gonna fight back. And that's what they did. You know, like I said, they're creative, they're interesting, they can do cool shit. They can also be fucking obnoxious and I want to strangle them sometimes. But if being annoying is the worst thing I can say about a fandom, well, Jesus Christ, man, they're probably like the best fandom out there then.